Okay, so Aiden is going to be our judge today, and I'm going to do the oral adjudication. So, Aiden.
Opposition first speaker may speak.
Okay, so, assuming I'm audible and visible, I'd like to start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Judge, opposition side is painting a world where the efficiency from China and the product quality from Korea cannot combine in order to create a manufacturing bond and an economic bond that makes high quality products in a fast and efficient way. The fact that we are literally bordering China sea to sea makes it so much more geographically more efficient and important at exporting throughout, and this leads to us not having to spend money on transportation fees just for products to go by. 3 courses of action in my speech today. Number 1, setup and characterization. Number 2, argument presentation. And number 3, preemptions on what the other team will say. And comparison. So moving on to my setup and characterization, I want to send a message to the other team not to be stuck in the 1980s where products from China were like trash and nothing worked properly after one try. Like made in China was like were like having such a bad reputation, but right now it's not that world. So an example of this and the mechanism that comes behind this can easily be relied on a company called Apple. The products from Apple are designed in California, especially the MacBook, and is manufactured in China because of the low cost and tax benefits that the government is doing to help China to become the head of manufacturing of the world. And although society does not say this, this is reality. So, opposition cannot deny the fact that China is developing vastly, quickly becoming more powerful, and is one of the biggest countries of the world with the most population. China will help us become a more overpopulated country too, as the immigrants from China can come into Korea, potentially solving the no children issue happening in the status quo in South Korea. So with this characterization, I would like to define some of the key terms in today's debate. So by economic ties, we are saying to spend more money and gain more money from export and import with to China more than the United States. And by doing this, by more than in this context, we do not mean that we will stop economic ties with the USA. We are saying that to be more we are saying that we are to be spending more money importing and exporting products with China more than the USA. So in exchange for what they will provide us with, not only does China share similar Asian traditions with us that can benefit us for holidays and not needing to be packed with work on holidays, they do not have a lot of allies anyway, so they would be able to shift their focus on us, not needing to have even the focus and attention out like America to do with so many allies. The main the main stakeholders of today's debate include the governments of SK, USA, and China, and the citizens that live there. The most vulnerable stakeholder is the South Korean government, as we, as proposition, are giving a window of opportunity to develop vastly once again and have the massive positive changes. With the team line of focus on us, not the world, I'd like to present our first argument on why China and South Korea are geographically closer, which can lead us to having more exclusive benefits such as transportation. But before I move on, are there any POIs? Assuming there are no POIs, the opposition side agrees with my characterization and should follow it. So, if you just simply take a look at a map, no research needed, it is quite obvious that this house is closer to China than the United States, which leads to this leads to this kind of obvious claim mechanism chain. So, geographically closer leads to less needing to transport things to a long distance, which leads to less cost for transportations, which means that it is money saving for us. Of course, with this, the opposition can easily say how bonding economic ties with the USA could lead to Korea becoming more stable in wars and with the provision of war sources. But the real big time where U.S. helped us in war was World War II, and that was ages ago. How can we trust the U.S. when there is no proof or evidence on why they helped us in military sources after that? Even if the USA is number one in military sources and can help us massively, we cannot deny the fact that China is also extremely strong and is actually number two in the world for military sources and services. Being tied with second, and when we are not even ranked top three, can be an improvement, especially with the election of Trump and the tariffs that were put on us, which will eventually be mentioned on the deputy prime minister's speech. Thank you, and so proud to propose.
Thank you for that speech. The opposing side may speak now.
Good afternoon, honorable adjudicators and my fellow debaters. My name is Chloe and I'm the leader of opposition. But first, I'd like to rebut the previous speaker. She said that China is closer, which can lead to less transportation costs and do have money saving. But China's products still have less quality than other places, and investing in America can still be a benefit for us, even though it still has more transportation costs, because the quality of the products are better than China. And I would like to start my constructed speech. Our team will be summarized the point of why should we oppose the motion. I will talk about the quality of the items, and my second speaker, Subin, will talk about political connections, and my third speaker, Jiwoo, will talk about its openness to collaboration. The opposition team strongly believes that South Korea should bond more economic ties with the USA and not China because the quality of their items is poor. And even though the first speaker of proposition said that China has improved from the 1980s, sorry, that comparing to other places, China's products are still more or less quality than other places.
Why?
Yes.
Do you have any evidence that USA still has more quality than China?
Well, in Korea, most China's products are cheap and low quality. Like when you go to stores, you can obviously see that their quality are more or less than America's. And when you see the American products that we see in America, they're usually costed like seen as more higher quality with more good material, built with better, built with more good material. Does that answer your question? Okay, thank you. And as I was saying, South Korea should bond more economic ties with the USA not China, because the quality of their items is poor. Most items from China are more poor quality and have more bad durability, so on. So although the items are cheap and such, exporting items that aren't that great can be not very beneficial for us because, yes.
As an answer to my POI, you said that why Chinese products are cheaper, but that doesn't explain the fact that why China has less quality, as you're saying, and that's probably and the less like cost is probably relying on the fact that the government gives tax benefits toward China because they're striving to become the manufacturing head of the world.
Or it could possibly mean that China is just manufacturing many items and not thinking about the quality of the products that they're using to make the items. Does that answer your question? Okay. So why should we import the items that are less quality? We could ship better items from the USA, even though there's a gap distance. Having better quality items that we could use could improve our quality in life. So we should.
Why?
Yes.
How does using China's products and US's products impact us in daily life? If they're manufacturing the same thing, isn't it similar in both
So
ways?
basically, like I said, compared to other countries, China's products are less quality. So technically using better quality items in life are more beneficial for us because like it could be more handy, it could have better durability, it could be more advanced.
However, what you said that China is using less well-made materials to make their items.
You're not allowed to do that. Chloe, you can go on.
Okay. So we could rather spend that money that putting ties in, like importing or exporting money from China, we could use it for USA and get better quality items to use in Korea. And that concludes the end of my speech. Thank you.
For that speech, proposition second speaker may speak.
So in my opinion, no, not in my opinion, I think we should make more ties with China because of political reasons and other reasons, but I'll speak of the main one. So the main reason I'm talking about is Donald Trump. And as you all probably should know, Donald Trump has gotten elected as president of the USA a few months ago. And if you watch the news, you can see that he's trying to recover the economy of USA and therefore putting some extremely high tariffs on Korea, which makes exporting and importing way harder. That's why I think we should import and export to China instead of America. And tariffs are kind of like taxes for when you like import and export. So like you have to pay some extra money to do those stuff on that certain country that gave you the tariff. Thank you.
Thank you for the speech. Opposition second speaker may rise.
Hello, honorable judges and fellow debaters. My name is Subin, and I am the second speaker of the opposition. Firstly, I would like to start with a rebuttal to the previous speaker. Although China, even though the U.S. has put tariffs on Korea, China has also put tariffs on Korea. Like notably in 2017, in the THAAD missile defense system China implemented a series of retaliatory actions, which included things like banning group tours to South Korea. My argument is that Korea has better ties with the U.S. than China, which means that they'll be more lenient toward it does offer better deals and lower tax rates compared to China. Furthermore, the U.S. is a far more powerful ally than China, which means that like if we are ever in a war, then they'll be better help than China.
POI.
Yeah.
Haven't I already preempted the fact that even if US is like number one in military sources and services, China is number two, so why can't we be tied with the number two when we're not even ranked top three?
Because like even though China is still powerful, we haven't really developed a good friendship with them yet. So even if we do start trading with them now, if there's like a war in like a few years' time, they're not going to help us as much as the US would. Does that answer your POI? I'm done my speech.
Okay, thank you.
Opposition third speaker may speak.
I think that we should make better ties with China instead of US because China tends to be cheaper because of how geographically close it is, resulting in lower shipping costs. This is important because US has placed major taxes on Korea, as my teammate said earlier, and this means that we can supply things more cheaply for our population and easily get more things for our country. Also, the import and export is very important as we need to save money. Also, the US is more far away than China, which means that China's shipping costs will be less than the US, and that is for certain. Also, since China makes things in a more rapid process, there's more of the things that would come in, so therefore supplying our population.
Can I ask a POI right now? So you said that China it had more it could produce items.
Wait until 1 minute.
Okay.
Therefore, it means that our population would be able to get.
So you told you sorry, my voice is so weird. So you said that China is able to make more products quicker and more cheaper, but that can severely affect the product and like the quality of it. So do you really think that's beneficial to that speed over quality is better?
However, I've never stated that the products are terrible. I merely stated that they are fast and they still work. Also, since they are made more cheaply, they can be easily bought again, and though that is not the most recyclable one, in Korea there are lots of garbage dumps that safely recycle products. Does that answer your POI? And that is the end of my speech. Thank you.
Thank you for that speech. Last speaker for opposition may speak now.
Is it me? Is it me? Wait, so opposition, right?
Yeah,
It's you.
Okay. So the USA is more open to collaboration than China because American brands include like small brands and the quality of the items are higher, and online websites like Amazon and Walmart have more variety of items, and also due to many big influencers in America, um they get like special gifts from some brands, and they can give positive reviews, and sometimes they can influence other brands to be more collaborative. And also many people in America have social media, and they can think that America has more better items.
POI. POI. You can say yes or no.
I don't know.
Okay, so you said that America owns a lot of brands and also but then you fail to deny the fact that China also has many brands and social media brands like TikTok. In fact, TikTok is founded by China, so what do you say about this?
There are other brands like social media that um many users in America use, and yeah.
Is that it?
Yes, that is it.
Final speaker for proposition may speak.
Good morning, esteemed judge and fellow debaters. My name is Alan An, the last speaker of this House. I'm here to represent the supporting side in today's debate. This House doesn't believe in the opponent's opinion. America has been supporting South Korea for decades by sending armies after the war between South Korea and North Korea. America didn't ask Korea for money for the support. As Donald Trump was elected as America's president, he has been asking to return the favor. Since America has helped Korea for a long time, the support costs a lot of money, but Korea can manage all of that. This states gives a result of South Korea needing to start an economic bonds with China. If South Korea bonds more economic ties with China, there are more advantages than bonding with the USA. To be more specific, China is the world's largest domestic market. This fact represents that China has the best and high quality products. China is also stated to have the most factories in the world and produces a lot of products at once. Therefore, even though China has many high quality products, their prices are cheap and low. In addition, China is geographically closer to Korea and the USA than the USA. Hence, it will give benefits to both South Korea and China, saving their money for shipping products. In conclusion, it is geographically, economically, and politically better for South Korea to spend more time importing and exporting products with China than the USA. Thank you.
Thank you for all those speeches.
Yeah.
Now
Is
the debate is
Wait, I do the reply speech, right? Okay. Are you guys allowed to POI the reply speech? No, right? Okay. So, my name is Chloe. I'm the reply for the opposition team. And as the last speaker, I would like to conclude all that we said. So, we talked about transportation and how shipping, and the other team talked about shipping to China would have less cost for transportation and save money. But China's products still have less quality than other places, which, even though there's lower shipping costs, the more that we import from America, we could have better products. And also your second speaker, you'll only consider that US put tariffs on us when also China put tariffs on us, like our second speaker for opposition said, like China in 2017. And your other speaker mentioned that China had the largest domestic market and the items were high quality, but yet we kept mentioning time and time again that China has lower quality compared to other places, so they took a false reason and they put it in just because they had the reason of a large domestic market. And also we talked about social media. And although during a POI, our speaker said China has TikTok and a large social media platform. But however, USA owns more platforms and has many influencers which are clearly better and can influence Korea in a more positive way. And yes, thank you. And please look for us. I think that's it, right?
Okay, so Aiden, do you have a verdict?
Yes.
Yeah, they honestly won probably.
Probably the proposition. Am I right?
Wait, guys, let's mute. Let's all hear Aiden.
With the very tight score, the proposition wins.
Okay,
Okay, so if you were a judge, who would you choose?
proposition.
Yeah, me too.
I will give the oral adjudication, and my oral adjudication will go like this. I'm first going to give general feedback, then I'm going to give individual feedback, and I'm gonna give why I think that if I were judge, proposition would win too. So, I couldn't get feedback on my own speech, so I didn't do my individual feedback. For general feedback, I think we improved from last time, especially the people who were here, and I think that last time rebuttals weren't made at all, especially for only for Sophia's speech rebuttals were made, but this time rebuttals were made and they were actually quite good. So with that, and also I think you guys need to work on to be overtime or just like there, not under time, because if you're under time, like debaters can just say, oh, they're under time. So this shows their incapability to fill up time, means that they don't have enough arguments, and means that they can't do anything except what they did in prep time. They can easily say that. So to avoid saying that, then you guys have to like fill up your time with analysis mechanism and stuff like that. So moving on to my individual feedback for Chloe, which was the LO. Since you did two speeches, I'm going to do separately, okay? So LO, it was very well structured. So you had the opening, you had your arguments, and then you had rebuttals. It was very well structured, but you cannot assume that China has less quality, because your only evidence for that was that they make stuff rapidly. But even if they do make stuff rapidly, we are trying to bond with China, which means that we are trying to have rapid manufacturing products and the quality that comes on top of it. So you cannot assume that. And as an answer to my POI, it was good, but it is still assuming that the quality is bad from China. And mechanism points were structured well. You were not under time, which was good. So for Yule, you were severely under time, but you had good statistics like the tariffs. You had real life examples. You had good analysis of the tariffs, but you didn't rebut to Chloe, so you have to work on that. And your analysis for your argument was about the tariff was good, but it was really repetitive about like how Trump and like stuff like that. But it was overall good and it was an improvement from last time. And Subin, you were under time too, and there's no need to say your name during your speech, but it was a very good answer to your POI, to my POI, and this actually helped your team. And what you said to the answer to my POI could have been used as an argument and or like really strong analysis, because you stated why our argument on geographically closer was like almost irrelevant and why your point was really good, but you should extend on that in your undertime speech. And Sophia, you were the only one who actually gave extensions to arguments. So when I said it was geographically closer, you also extended on my argument and say why it was geographically closer. So that was really good, but you were still under time too. So everyone needs to work on undertime speeches. And if you see that I was overtime, which is not a good thing either. And yeah, so good extension, but you need more mechanism because you say this, but you don't say why it happened. Okay? So you say why it's geographically closer. You basically repeat what I said, but you never say what impact does it have, why it's important, why it's true, something like that, okay? And you have good points of mechanism and you did somewhat extensions, but with your extensions it was kind of inconsistent because Chloe mentioned why the quality is bad and you mentioned why the quality is bad too, but Chloe actually gave mechanisms behind it, but you should give like examples and you mostly talk about social media, but you were just like, oh, social media. US has social media. I could just easily be like, oh, China has social media too. Like, so, and you were also under time. Elan, you have very good characterization, but as the reply speaker, try not to add new information because that's only for constructive speeches. And since you were the last speaker, you should not add any new information. You should just like summarize what we did and why you think we won. And it's okay to be a little biased, but try to like be neutral. And for Chloe, for the reply speech, you don't need to state your name either. You were not under time. You do not need to bring up new information, and you do not need to rebut. But your structure of your speech was really good, and you gave examples on like POIs, which shows that you actually listened, which most debaters don't do. So I feel like this debate was a great improvement from last time, and I feel like the main two things we have to work on is rebutting on extensions and also the undertime problem. Yeah, thank you. Don't leave the meeting yet, okay?